McLINTOck. You're all wet.
Wrong woman, T.W. Oh, pardon me.
In 1963, McLINTOck burst onto the screen, bringing with it the unparalleled charisma of John Wayne and the fiery brilliance of Maureen O'Hara. Directed by Andrew McLaglen and loosely inspired by Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew, the film offered a comedic spin on the classic Western with over-the-top slapstick humor, witty banter, and grand brawls that delighted audiences. Set against the stunning backdrop of the American frontier, it followed the larger-than-life G.W. McLINTOck, a cattle baron navigating personal and professional chaos in a rapidly changing world. The mix of romance, rivalry, and raucous humor made it an instant hit, cementing its place as one of Wayne's most iconic films. But beneath the comedy lies a moment that has intrigued audiences for decades, a coal shovel spanking scene between Wayne and O'Hara that left the actress bruised for a week. This controversial, unscripted intensity is just one of many fascinating tales behind the making of McLINTOck. So, what drove this scene to such an authentic and shocking conclusion, and what other behind-the-scenes stories shaped this film? Let's dive into the captivating world of McLINTOck and uncover what made this Western comedy as dynamic off-screen as it was on. The story follows G.W. McLINTOck, a wealthy, rugged cattle baron who appears to have it all, but his life is far from perfect. His estranged wife, Catherine, returns after a 2-year absence, demanding a divorce and custody of their daughter, Becky, who is just back from college. Catherine's sharp tongue and stubbornness immediately reignite her fiery clashes with G.W., who matches her temper blow for blow. As if that weren't enough, G.W. must also contend with corrupt government officials, a group of settlers attempting to farm unsuitable land, and the looming question of how to manage the transition of the untamed frontier into a bureaucratic future. Catherine's arrival at the ranch disrupts the already chaotic household, creating tension not just with G.W., but also with the new housekeeper, Louise Warren, played by Yvonne DiCarlo. Louise's presence stirs Catherine's jealousy, adding another layer to the drama. Meanwhile, Becky finds herself caught in a love triangle between Matt Douglas Jr., the polished but clueless son of a government bureaucrat, and Dev Warren, a hard-working young ranch hand played by Patrick Wayne. As the comedy and chaos escalate, the film builds toward its notorious conclusion, a public confrontation that ends with the infamous spanking scene. The making of McLINTOck was filled with as much drama and humor as the film itself. John Wayne, ever the perfectionist, was deeply involved in all aspects of the production. The film was produced by his eldest son, Michael Wayne, while Patrick Wayne's role as Dev allowed the younger Wayne to work alongside his father in a significant capacity. This family collaboration lent the production a close-knit energy that carried over to the screen. The famous mud fight scene, one of the film's comedic highlights, was no easy feat to shoot. The mud was actually bentonite, a clay-like substance often used in oil drilling, which resembled thick chocolate syrup. Filming took place in November, and the freezing temperatures made the scene even more grueling for the cast and crew. John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara led the charge, diving into the mud with gusto and setting an example for the stunt performers. Wayne, known for his no-nonsense approach, reportedly mocked the stuntmen who hesitated to jump into the pit, calling them chicken shits before demonstrating the stunt himself. Another standout moment was the climactic spanking scene, which has become one of the most talked about moments in the film's history. According to Maureen O'Hara, Wayne delivered the scene with such intensity that she was left with bruises for days. While the moment was played for comedy, its unscripted vigor added a layer of authenticity that surprised even the cast. O'Hara later reflected on the scene with humor, acknowledging the chemistry and trust she shared with Wayne, which allowed them to pull off such a bold performance. The film's themes extended beyond its slapstick humor, offering subtle commentary on the changing American West. G.W.'s struggle to maintain his land and way of life symbolized the tension between tradition and progress. In a rare move for Westerns of the era, the film portrayed Native Americans with dignity, giving them a voice and showing their plight as they were pushed onto reservations. This was a deliberate choice by John Wayne, who wanted to address the negative portrayals of Native Americans in previous films he had starred in. His respect for the Comanche characters, particularly Chief Puma, stood in sharp contrast to the corrupt government officials and opportunistic settlers depicted in the story. McLINTOCK also featured nods to Wayne's own life and career. His iconic Red River D belt buckle made a cameo, as it did in many of his films. The character of G.W., with his larger-than-life persona and deep sense of justice, mirrored Wayne himself. The film even included a sly jab at Wayne's political opponents. The weak and bumbling Governor Cuthbert H. Humphrey was a parody of liberal Senator Hubert H. Humphrey, whom Wayne strongly disliked. Despite the light-hearted tone, the production wasn't without its challenges. Maureen O'Hara, known for her athleticism and willingness to perform stunts, was prevented from doing a dangerous scene where her character jumps through a plate glass window. Studio executives deemed the stunt too risky, even for a trained stunt woman, and it was ultimately performed by a male stuntman in disguise. This decision didn't sit well with O'Hara, whose fiery spirit matched the character she portrayed. The film's success was a much-needed win for John Wayne, helping him recover financially from the losses he suffered with The Alamo in 1960. Its box office triumph proved that audiences loved seeing Wayne in a comedic role, especially when paired with O'Hara, whose on-screen chemistry with him was electric. Their playful antagonism and undeniable connection elevated the film, making it more than just a slapstick comedy. Ultimately, McLINTOCK is remembered for its larger-than-life characters, hilarious set pieces, and moments of genuine emotion. But it's the behind-the-scenes stories, like the grueling mud fight, Wayne's insistence on performing his own stunts, and the unscripted intensity of the coal shovel spanking, that give the film its legendary status. The movie's mix of humor, heart, and raw energy continues to captivate audiences, proving that even in its most chaotic moments, McLINTOCK is a classic worth revisiting. Now it's time to hear from you. What do you think about the infamous spanking scene? Was it a bold comedic choice or too over the top? Share your thoughts in the comments below.